It can be easy to assume that the gap of where you are now or where you want to be is because of a lack of knowledge. It's why we buy a ton of books on language learning and think we're going to find the correct strategy that's going to save you from your language learning purgatory. And what I've noticed after learning Spanish for 7 years is that knowledge doesn't necessarily mean it's going to drive exponential results. Learning something new can actually be the wrong thing to do. When we practice something, we're involved in deliberate repetition, the process with the intention of reaching a specific goal, because they define the difference between actively practicing something and passively learning it. Passive language learning creates knowledge. Active practice creates fluency. And after a while, here's the thing that I kind of figured out. To a certain degree, learning can actually be a way of avoiding taking action. And I've done this myself where I'm learning Spanish, where you buy a book and you're in the store and you're searching through all the different ones that you're thinking that you might get. And even when you're looking through the books and then you end up making a purchase, it even feels like you're making progress. But of course, you're not actually speaking it yet. And to my defense, maybe it could be an argument that you're researching the best methods. Research is motion, not action. Passive learning can be a way to obtain knowledge, but you're not actually applying it. While active learning, in my opinion, is the greatest way to move forward in your language learning. Practice is like the only way to actually cement what you know. You can watch a course, read an article, but that knowledge is useless unless you put it into practice in some sort of way. And the great thing about language learning is that you cannot wing it. Well, at least for an in-depth conversation, because there will be that one person or two that turn around to you and just speaking out that language. And that happened a few times. And ordinarily, they're shocked and you are too, and it might take you a second. When you put yourself out in the field, you can actually receive feedback, most of the times from a complete stranger if you're really going out there. And yes, at first, it will hurt. And you may even see a wince in the face of the person that you're talking to. But this is brutal honesty. This is not reflecting what you want to see, it's reflecting what you need to see. So if the listener may not understand certain things that you may be saying, that confusion, those are the bits where you need to pick up on that you may need to improve. And these memories where you're being corrected somehow, because they kind of hurt, they stay ingrained in your memory. And for me, I have quite a few of those situations where I've made mistakes and that point in time has been ingrained in my memory. But I also feel like this accelerated my learning, because the quicker you know that something isn't working, the sooner you can pivot and adjust your strategy. And in all, it just saves you time and energy. And over time, those small little moments move you out your comfort zone. Testing yourself more frequently is akin to putting your knowledge under a microscope and revealing its strengths and weaknesses. And another thing about putting yourself to the test is to test yourself the way that you're going to be tested. That is, the more that your study situation resembles the way that you're going to be tested, the more likely that you are to remember information. And I give myself a bit of a rule here. I spend 2/3 actually trying to speak the language and 1/3 learning. Language is a skill and it demands practice. The more you use the language, the more you become more adept. Inaction when it comes to language learning is like trying to learn how to swim without getting in the water. Only by diving in is the only way that you could really learn.